So episode 3, we're here. This episode, we've mentioned in the last one anyway, we're going to be talking a bit more serious stuff. So obviously, previous episode we spoke about ourselves. Episode before that we spoke about your nerves and bits like that when you first start working within the industry. But something I think we need to cover is the reality of working in the industry as well. So it's sort of the things that...
The dark side.
Yeah, the dark side of... And I say the dark side, it's not the dark side.
No, it's not.
It can be the good
negatives.
part of the business. It can be the fun part. It can be everything you kind of want, especially if it's just a quick job to earn a few quid and it's, you're just earning a few quid and you're not got really any responsibilities. It's fun. But it's people like ourselves.
You're in a long time.
And we've been doing it for so long now. The fun...
The fun is still there. It's just, it's what we do to, address the fun or get through the fun.
And I think the issue is, the fun of, having that freedom to, finish work, have some beers. It's only 1 o'clock in the morning. Most people are going to bed. That's normal for us. So it's like, we'll go out. Having that freedom.
Beers, sit down, have our chats and things,
Yeah, having that freedom is great. But then the other side of it is 10 years down the line, you're still doing that.
Yeah.
There's a problem. And that's what we sort of have a chat about with you guys today, and hopefully address it with a few other people. Maybe people that are listening and stuff might think, well, actually, that is me, and maybe I should do something. And then we'll talk about the licensed trade charity again, because I really want to keep reiterating those guys.
Definitely for this episode as well.
Absolutely,
I think it's
absolutely.
It's a very, very important part to kind of say about the licensed trade charity as well, just because of what they do and how they support everyone, especially people that are going through issues and stuff.
They're the ones that can genuinely help people within our industry and understand our industry. So
we're just 3 idiots talking about it.
Exactly. Yeah, we're the ones that sort of go, that looks bad. We should probably mention that. So really to sort of start off, I'm just sort of going to again, it's going back to a little while ago, 10 years ago, in fact, when, I was first in the industry and everyone was very much, you finish work, you go out, you get drunk, you stay out till 4 or 5 in the morning.
And it wasn't just socially acceptable then, it was socially pressured. Like,
if
you weren't the one doing that,
why not going out?
If you're the one who's going home, then you're like, what are you doing?
Why not hanging out with us? And all of a sudden you feel that you have to be there.
Every time, every night.
It's still like that, to be honest.
Is it still like that?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
So,
I'm more the instigator, to be honest.
So you're the bad one this time. Because obviously when I was, you're 10 years younger, so sort of seeing it from those different points of view actually was quite interesting.
Nah, it's probably nowhere near as bad as when it was.
We're also not on the floor, if you know what I mean, anymore. Like, we're now...
we're not the cool kids anymore.
Yeah.
No one wants to hang out with the old people.
Really.
Just you cool kids going out having fun.
And as well as you never... Like, when we were young, we didn't want to get pissed and get drunk with our managers.
No, unless they were paying.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I'm totally down for that then.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But one thing, like when, I think 10 plus years ago, it was very much like, say you finish work on a Saturday and you're like, whew, that was it. Right, guys, we need to get this pub closed. We're going out in an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. And you go out and then Sunday come around and you're feeling rubbish because obviously you've been out all night. But then you go, I'm back to work Sunday night. Right, guys, we've got an hour, we're going out.
Back in the day, you actually worked on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't do that anymore. But like, you go, oh, okay, we're going out again.
Yeah.
Monday comes round. You're going out again, and you've got access to all the student nights because obviously the bartenders, you know the guys on the door, a few other people, but then all of a sudden you've got access to then the industry nights as well. So the bars that don't even open for the public on certain days, we can just walk in. So you feel like a VIP.
Not quite walk in, but
you know what I mean. You feel
nights that they're doing.
You feel that you're important and. You get this false sort of importance because you're out all the time. Everyone knows who you are. I know when I was then, I thought, I'm really popular, because I'm out all the time. Every bar I went to, I knew someone.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm the cool guy. I wasn't. I was the drunk guy.
Yeah.
I was the guy who was out every night, spending too much money getting drunk every night, making an idiot of myself. And that's why people knew who I was. It wasn't because I was a legend.
Or someone that was really cool to hang out with.
Yeah, it's because I was the one buying the tequilas. And they were like, there's that guy, I've got no money, let's hang out with him. Yeah. And that's kind of how it was. But I think, again, even then, I think I got to a point, I finished university, I was doing a real job. I wasn't doing a real job at that point, I was at my job, and that's all I had. But I was still going out every night of the week.
Yeah.
Having, literally going, right, okay, payday comes, that's my rent and food. I've got £400 left to spend on alcohol for this month.
Yeah.
I had no other thoughts, no other priorities. It was rent, bills, food, beer.
Yeah.
That was it. And that was my entire mantra almost. I was like, I've got to go out every single weekend, minimum. I've got to go out at least 3 or 4 times this week. I'd only spend 30, 40 quid every night. It's madness. But like now, when you look at that, you go, if I saw a young person now doing that 5 times a week, I would feel I'd have to go, are you all right? Like, is everything okay? Because there's something not right there for you to want to do that every night of the week. But when I was at uni, that was normal.
It was normal. Yeah, it's not quite normal these days anymore, but I'm sure there's a few out there doing that.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like, sort of, because yourself, you didn't go to university.
No, I didn't.
But did you still feel?
I still had that same culture. Yeah. Well, because at that time I was working in cinema and then moved to the pub. Like all my cinema friends were still going out every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Because Sunday in Watford we used to do snake bite Sundays. So we'd go to a pub.
Right? Snake bite in years.
Exactly, man. You'd go to a pub and you'd buy 2 like pitchers, not just cups. Right? You'd buy 2 pitchers for less than 20 quid.
Yeah.
Right. You'd either buy them for yourself or you buy them for a grit table, whatever you want to do. You stay there dancing all night, and then you'd go to the club that's just opening at like 2 a.m. You're already steaming, but you're gonna go there, stay there for the rest of the night. You're gonna queue up for like 10, 15, 20 minutes to try and get a watered down vodka and Coke or something. Yeah. You know, when you're thinking you're cool, I'll have vodka energy, you know. It just tastes like shit, but...
Man, the amount of times you go to those like clubs and stuff, and it's like vodka energy.
You don't even get ice in a plastic cup.
Yeah, it's like, but you're only paying 2 quid, so you don't care.
Yeah.
And then you're just risking some sort of heart attack at some point. You've got about 20 of them.
But all my friends then, they would just love the night scene. So they were going out on the whole weekend. So I would join them when I finished work, when I was working in the pub. Yeah. And then my other friends from the actual pub, because we were working the weekends, we'd go out on the week. So I ended up drinking quite a bit during those days. I think it was just like a couple of days where I maybe wouldn't be able to hack it, or some shifts I would literally go home, have a shower, and then go to work. Kind of thing.
It was almost like you'd go out or finish work, go out, get back at silly o'clock in the morning, collapse in your bed, wake up, shall go back to work again, and
that's even if you go to sleep.
That's if you exactly. So what about yourself then? Like obviously now you're 10 years younger than us. You're in the future or whatever it might be. What do you do now? Is like, you're going out all the time. Is there a difference to what we were doing?
I feel like there's not much difference in terms of what you guys were doing, but maybe in terms of the frequency.
Yeah. I think money doesn't go as far these days.
Yeah, exactly. So especially like students, we've got, I'd say we have more expenditure, but we don't. But then we do at the same time. It's just on pointless shit.
Yeah, the same maths that Matt did. It's the same.
Go rent, bills. The rest is for beer.
Yeah,
that's all we do.
It's the same. It's the same thing, and like, It's basically that's all I can say. It's basically the same thing.
It's just the problem is
less
like you get stuck living paycheck to paycheck, don't you? When you're at uni.
Yeah.
I think even
I'm bad for that, to be quite honest.
For me, it was the really hard transition of finishing uni and going out all the time and everything else to then being a full-blown adult, where I've left uni. I've still got a house, but now I've got bigger bills to pay, whatever it might be. And it was that transition of, hang on, I always go out on a Wednesday for that, and I always go Thursday for that, and Tuesday I always go for a beer with so-and-so, and Sundays I do this, and I can't afford that.
That's the thing, is that reality. Like at the start of uni and stuff, like I was going out all the student nights plus all weekend as well, and like freshers and stuff at the start is just.
And I'm guessing, obviously, it's a lot different now in costs. Because like you said 2 pitches for 20 quid.
It was under 20 quid, yeah. It wasn't 20 quid.
For me at uni,
used to get change.
It was 2 4-pint pitches for a tenner.
Yeah.
So and then for you to even consider buying 2 pitches,
£30
minimum.
Something ridiculous.
What is it like now? Say on average £5 something a pint. So you're looking at 40 quid.
Nuts.
Unless they're doing deals for it.
Yeah. Okay, so like with all that said and stuff, I think we were sort of, that's what my experience was, and I think leaving the industry a little bit really helped me, because it was sort of like, well, actually now I'm doing a Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
I can't be going out every night of the week, because as bad as it sounds, sitting in front of a computer all day is tiring. It's mentally, and last thing I needed to be hungover as well, and I kind of felt a bit more responsible to turning up for work and stuff like that. You didn't have the, back then and stuff like that, especially hospitality, you're a bit late. It's not the end of the world. You make it up at the end of the shift or whatever it might be. But you work in a corporate job and then you walk in and you're late.
Were you late to that one, Sam?
No.
But you know what I mean? If you walk in late or something like that, it's the end of the world. Like, you know. So I kind of stopped the Monday to Friday thing. I was like, I'll go out on the weekends. But all my friends were still in the industry.
Yeah.
So they didn't go out on the weekends and working. So I kind of naturally fell out of going out because I didn't have a lot of people to go out with at the time. And instead I just meet them after work for a beer and go home or whatever it might be.
It's funny you say that because you fell out of drinking with people, so you just stopped drinking.
Yeah.
I fell out of drinking with people, so I started drinking on my own.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that. I used to go sit there. I quite happily put my headphones on, listen to some music or watch something, right? Or go down, watch the darts or the rugby back in.
That's my worst nightmare.
This is at the pub though.
Yeah, sit in the pub. I happily spend 40 quid, 50 quid on my own, having half a bottle of whiskey, a few beers or something, you know? And that would be every night, like just sitting on my own or chilling. And then if I did go out with friends or if I did meet someone while I was out already, then I'd just join their table or something, you know.
Yeah.
And that was my social time, was just talking to people sporadically, opposed to sitting. Instead of sitting in the whole thing, because working in the industry, you can't always plan ahead. Sometimes,
because you don't know what's going on every day, do you? That's the thing, and that's kind of one of the, I say, saving graces for me is that I couldn't make plans.
Yeah.
So someone's birthday, I don't know if I'm working or not. You know, back then it wasn't, oh, can I have that Saturday off? Because my friends, no.
Yeah.
We're busy. You're going to work. Because that's how it used to be. So, you know, it'd just be...
You're going to work.
Yeah, exactly. No, 100% that. So it's like, we'll find someone else who wants to do your job. It's not a problem. They're queuing up. So it was very much, you know, you don't get that opportunity. Oh, I want that Saturday off and that Tuesday off and that one. It's, I don't know what I'm working. I might meet you afterwards. So... And then obviously when I got into the real job side of things, you kind of just fell out of that as well. But I think with a lot of the other people within the industry who haven't left or have stayed in the industry so long, and maybe they've not had the most lucky, maybe they've not got partners or whatever, because it is, again, really hard to have relationships in the industry, as we all know anyway. But there is those people out there who've been doing this for 10, 15, 20 plus years who are still living that, drinking every single day of the week, finding themselves... probably less and less away from family and friends because you can't make plans all the time. Especially within the industry that long, you'll probably find yourself quite high up or into a degree of like sort of where, you know, you're responsible. And I think that's where the problem can start really becoming the issue or problem can really hit hard, because all of a sudden you're drinking 6-7 days a week because it's normal. Yeah. Not because you enjoy it. Oh, I'll finish work.
You've also got the fact that you kind of put your priorities into the work and your job, and like that's the priority, and you forget about the little things, you know, like going home to see your parents or giving someone a call because you're tired because you've been
just
working
12 hours, and
exactly. Then you've got absolutely steaming afterwards. So
do you think that when, you know, obviously you get to that stage of stuff, it's quite, especially with the older managers that are still kicking about, do you think it's quite normal almost to be in that sort of position?
It is normal to be in that kind of that realm as well, you know, that I think we all expect, especially what you guys, Sam, your parents are a million miles away.
Yeah.
So you probably know where I get that from at this. Matt, your parents live around the corner from you.
Yeah.
So, but I still haven't seen my mum this year.
Yeah.
I spoke to her on the phone. I've seen my dad. My dad popped up a little while ago.
But actually physically.
But I haven't actually gone down and seen my mum this year yet. I've not even finished my Christmas cycle yet. And we're already on Valentine's.
Yeah.
So I'm very much...
Easter soon as well.
Huh?
Easter soon as well.
Yeah.
Get your Easter pints.
For me, it's like, I mean, I'm kind of the same. I'm fortunate, you know, I'm in the same city as my family. But even then, I do struggle to find the time to see them. You know, so it is quite sometimes, you know, you'll sit there and go, I've not seen my mum for a month. Yeah. And it's like, she lives 20 minutes away. Yeah. Like, that's mad. And, you know, I've not seen other family members, etc. But like, again, I'm thankful that I've not sort of gone down that road of, you know, oh, if I'm not working, I'm at the pub drinking. Yeah. Or if I'm not working, or after work, I'm drinking. Don't get me wrong, as we've said before, and the reason we're doing this is because, you know, Saturday night we like to have a beer and like sit down, have a beer, catch up a little bit, have this conversation that we're kind of having now, and then sort of go, right, cool, see you later. It's, you know, 2:30, bedtime. Yeah. Whereas those managers that, you know, finish at 5 and sit at the end of the bar until 2 in the morning.
And they fall into bed.
Yeah, and they're the ones doing it every night of the week, but they've got so programmed to wake up at 7 o'clock. Well, so they're used to the hangovers. They're used to, it's normal now. It's how they normally feel. So it's not a hangover anymore. It's just normal.
That's how I woke up today. It's just how I woke up today.
That's how I always am. And then you've got those others that, you know, start doing that and stuff, start feeling a bit rough, or managers especially who are doing those crazy hours, you know, your 60, 70, 80, 100 hours. Yeah. 10 years ago, and I think we mentioned it before, it was like a badge of honour. Look at me, I've done this crazy amount of hours.
I've not slept for 2 days.
I've not slept for 2 days. I've done an open, a close, a clopen, an open, brilliant. But I think back then, especially when now I think about it a lot of those managers and things like that, they were going out as well and they were doing all this. I'm like, how are they doing it? Because I was a bit naive. But a lot of it now, they're like, oh shit, they were taking drugs. Yeah. Like, that was the reality. Because they had to. It wasn't because it wasn't to think, it was to get them through stuff. Well, it's like those big business people.
Yeah. It would have been one of those that they started like, I feel really shit. My mate's gone, I'll try a little bit of this.
Yeah.
And then they're doing it now continuously just to get them through the next shift.
Yeah. And it's not because, they're enjoying it. It's purely because they feel that they have to get through it. And it's chefs, I'm not saying within necessarily pub industry, but those high-end top chefs in, like in the big restaurants, it's rife.
And hotels.
Hotels especially,
you think they...
Working crazy hours.
They pretty much cook 24 hours, don't they?
Yeah. And I think with all these sort of things, it almost becomes, like I said before, it's acceptable. It's acceptable to, have a drinking problem.
Yeah.
And, we see it with the regulars, we see it with some of the old pubs we've had before, where the old boys will come in and they're shaking.
It's the bread and butter of our craft is people with, an alcohol problem.
Yeah. And it's that's, to me, it's mental when you really step back and go.
Yeah. Especially when you think about
the fact you're physically shaking because you've not had a pint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we used to have, we used to have people come through and, they'd knock on my, I used to have a pub and it opens at 9 a.m. 1 minute past 9, people are banging on the door. And you're like, and there's 20 people outside, and you're like, oh, all right, open the doors. And they're rushing to the bar, and they're all shaking, asking for the beers and stuff. And I'm just like, and at first I thought, oh God, they're eager. Right? But then you start looking at them, and then they're not there to make friends. They're not there to talk to you because they all sit on different tables,
they're
staring at a wall
as well.
Yeah, they're their table.
Yeah,
and it sort of go that. I mean, to me that was mad. But when I really look at sort of some of the staff we've worked with in the past and some people who, I imagine work in other places as well, and it becomes such a thing where that they're so reliant on having that beer at the end of the night and continuing to drink lots or going out all the time or whatever it might be. There's something there that obviously to me isn't right. And I think that's the big issue. And I think a lot of it now is how do you approach those sort of people? Because they're so used to it. I mean, in reality, they might not even think they've got an issue.
No, I think it's a matter of perspective as well. Because I was still very much in that kind of cycle where I wouldn't necessarily go out all night, but up to maybe a year and a bit ago, I was still drinking every night. I think maybe even last year I was still drinking almost every day. Not to the extent of getting drunk or steaming.
But at least having one or two.
Yeah.
After a shift or something and then heading home.
And I'm very prone to whiskey, and I'm not one of these. I don't like a single. I'll always have a double. Right? I'll always have a couple. Right? So I'll have 2 or 3 double whiskies. Right? And I'll probably have a beer before I have a whiskey. Right? And that was pretty much every night. And then it went down to I'll just have a beer and a whiskey. Yeah. And then it was like, I'll have a beer or I'll have 2 whiskeys and then I'll go home. But that was still every day. It's still, it's still a bit more than probably it should have.
Do you think you've got into that habit purely because of what we do? Do you think it's
yeah, it was easy. It was there. It was accessible.
Yeah, because it's right in front of you.
Yeah, I've been pouring it all day. I've been looking at it. We just got a new sour on. I was really eager to try that. Yeah. I can't just sit in the middle of the pub and drink a cider. No. A sour, can't Yeah.
Do you think that once because obviously you've had a long day, for example, you could be absolutely shattered. You've had a long day, and it's almost like, well, I've got through today. So I deserve a reward.
Oh yeah.
So you almost
reward beer, yeah.
In your head, you're like, well,
dopamine kind of.
Yeah, you've earned this.
Yeah.
You've earned this treat.
Doesn't matter if you're paying for it or not.
Yeah, but
have a fucking Kit Kat instead, man.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? But do you know what I mean? Like you've earned it. You've worked hard all day, right? That's what I really want. Something naughty almost. And then I think that could be the issue because it's almost like a trained, and it's not to say this, but you train an animal by giving it treats, don't you?
Yeah.
Good, well done, it's a treat.
Yeah,
once that's routine, you're just going to carry on doing that.
100%.
And then just, in a way, you'll explode it and make it worse and worse and worse.
That's where I think the problem actually lies is you know, people...
It's a reward behaviour.
Rewarding yourself, but then all of a sudden, well, actually, I've had a bad week, so I'll have 3 more.
Oh, yeah. Like,
well, friends are here, and they've had a bad week, so we'll all get some.
I'll get a lot of round of shots as well.
And then all of a sudden, this massive night happens because you finish work.
Exactly. And it's a Tuesday.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday.
Everyone else Tuesday.
Yeah.
Celebrate, what?
Yeah, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, you know, you get into that habit of... You know, and then obviously everyone else starts doing it, and all of a sudden you've got 3 or 4 people every night of the week sat at a table.
But this is also the thing, in that perspective thing. I would never have thought about it like that kind of viewpoint of like we're doing this as a reward. I'm rewarding myself for just finishing my shifts.
Yeah.
You know, I've done a 12-hour shift. I'm gonna have a beer.
Yeah.
You know, fucking pat on my back. Look at me go.
Well done for me.
I'm not going to bed to rest and do the same again tomorrow. No, I'm gonna sit here and have 2 more probably.
Yeah, but then people in the real world, not our little hospitality bubble, they finish work and they go, right.
6 o'clock.
And they finish work at 5. They sit in traffic till 6 before they get home, so they're knackered. They get some dinner, and they're like, well, maybe some people might, you know, play with the kids, or you know, spend some time with the missus, whatever it might be, or maybe go to the gym or something.
Yeah.
But sort of 10 o'clock, they're winding down and getting into bed. You know, 10, 11. So we're still drinking. You know, and that's when you sort of go, well, that's the difference of having that real job. Or the hospitality world, is acceptable to be going to bed early and the real job because you've got work the next day. You try and go bed early after a shift.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, come on, one more beer, come on. Oh, you only got work at 8. What
I feel
are you
like
on about?
hospitality has a different routine compared to like an office job. So the average office worker will work Monday to Friday and then 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And then Friday, Saturday, they're on the beers.
Yeah.
So that's their days to relax and chill. With us,
we don't get that.
We don't get that because it's sporadic. It changes.
We work in the weekends.
Yeah, exactly.
When they're all
we
coming
work
in for
at the
their beers.
weekends. So like for us, it's different in a sense that sometimes we won't even get a day off, or we'll do like 9, 10, 11 days in a row or something. So I think some people might try and find that time after the shift. And that's why they're there, or trying
themselves.
Exactly, because they won't have that time any other time of the week to do it. When people who do 9 to 5s Monday to Friday, they've actually got a couple of days to sit down and chill out. They know, exactly.
See them.
Yeah, and you've also got that like double standard, like what you just said about someone who goes to bed earlier, right? And we were like, oh, boo, stay out, right? But then they go, oh, I didn't wake up until 2 in the afternoon, and their friends are like, what do you mean you wake up until 2 in the afternoon?
I don't wake up till my shift at 5. Let's be real.
Like, you've missed the morning.
You've literally missed the majority.
But then everyone forgets, so that we're literally there until 12 o'clock most nights.
There has been times where I've not seen daylight for about 2 weeks.
That's called winter, Sam. We don't get winter.
Yeah, no, I know.
No, but I know what you mean. It's like because you can fall into that, and I know, especially when I was in it before, 100% that was my life.
Yeah.
No matter what, if I was getting out of bed before 2 o'clock in the afternoon,
that was an early start.
That was an early.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well, I said earlier in the group chat, it was like, oh, I got up today quite early or something. It was like 12. I was like half 12. I said
12, and you were like,
I
look
sent
at me.
messages like, oh, I could go gym or something. It was like, nah, I can't be arsed. It's too early. And I'm tired.
But like, it's such a strange thing. But I think that's where the problem lies, because there's no real consistency, because you've got no true.
A set routine, basically.
Yeah, you haven't got that set routine. You're working crazy hours. You don't really know what you're doing the next week, or at least the week after. Right. So, you know, when you get that chance to reward yourself in any way, shape, or form, I feel like the quickest method is alcohol, because we're in a bar.
A lot of it has to do with that kind of dopamine response.
Yeah.
And with a lot of things as well, like not just alcohol, like drugs as well. Yeah. People use that as a way to escape other things as well. And it's a lot.
It's like becoming numb to the world around you.
Exactly, but like.
I think it's
the thing is like some people they'll have that break or whatever, but they're not getting that dopamine response from that time.
No.
You know, they're not feeling rewarded from having a break or even from having a drink, so they'll tuck something else instead.
They're trying to amplify
exactly, because they want to try and get to the point where they feel all right.
It's like a little dog giving the little chew treat. Like, oh, that's all right. 10 times later,
give them a fucking
I want
stick.
that. I want the big chew. And all of a sudden you want the bone, don't you?
Yeah.
But that's you know, and I kind of think that, you know, that's the...
What an analogy, Matt.
I know, right?
Brilliant.
I know.
Dog and bone analogy.
Yeah, dog and bone analogy, a scientist. But, you know, like, that's kind of, for me, it's kind of how it comes across. I mean, I'm thankful enough that I haven't ever gone down that path of having an addiction to something. I haven't needed anything like, you know, drinking drugs and stuff, because I think I don't know what I'd do with it. You know what I mean? In all fairness, I'm fortunate that hasn't happened to me. I know people it has happened to. And obviously, you know, it's a crazy battle for those guys to then have to try and sort things out. And thankfully, the majority of people that I know who've gone down that road have managed to sort it. There is others out there that haven't, you know, and that, you know, I still feel for those people. And I think it's something that, it's not just something you do once, I've sorted it now, I'm fine. It's something they do every day.
Yeah.
And that's the risky part for our job, especially when we go into the, you know, the rewarding yourself every night or every day. All of a sudden, you know, like we said, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. For some people, anyway, not everyone.
And on your days off, that reward comes a little early.
Well, that's
Sometimes it's a lunchtime beer.
Well, that's it. That's it. You're like, it's my day off, so I deserve a beer. Well, you've had beers every night of the week. Why do you deserve one today as well?
Well, I'm having lunch. Like, what else am I going to wash it down with?
It's breakfast. You know what I mean? Let's have a vodka. Like, and this is where it all starts snowballing. You know what I mean? And if you haven't got the right people around you, you haven't got those, you know, your family, your friends, and things like that to not necessarily keep you in check, but to
sometimes it's just a distraction. Like, you know, your mind's taken
doing other
away
stuff
from the alcohol and the escape. You know, and you're like,
you don't need to. Yeah. You don't need that reward because you're actually doing something you enjoy.
You've got a reward in other aspects.
Other things. And I think that's kind of, you know, and the same with, you know, we mentioned with drugs and stuff, because when I first came into university, when I first came into the hospitality world, I knew drugs existed.
Yeah.
But I didn't really think much of them. Like reality, it wasn't something that I'd ever really seen. Obviously, high school and stuff, people were like smoking weed and things, but like real drugs, never saw. And it was only when I got into hospitality, and I remember the first sort of time I ever saw anything, it was, you know, on a Sunday afternoon or something. And it was like one of my managers like, oh, check the toilets, make sure they're all right. And back then it was check the toilets, not because you think someone's in the toilets doing drugs or something, but checking your toilet roll and soap. And I was like, yeah, no problem, la la la. And then there's some bloke just snorting a line of powder off the sink, and I was like, that doesn't look sanitary or safe, let alone excuse me, what do you think you're doing? And then obviously I was only about just 18, 19. I was like,
that was the day a hero was born.
Yeah.
Action plan.
Yeah, but like for me, I was just like, wow, that was a bit odd for me. Yeah. But I remember it like going back to my manager going, I've just seen this, and he was obviously kicked him out or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, I think he was doing cocaine, and I was like, whoa, no, that's like crazy. People don't do that in public, do they? That's mad. You know, fast forward so many years, I don't think you can go to a swimming baths without finding it. You know what I mean? It's like you can't. It's everywhere.
Once you've seen it as well, your eyes are just on it.
Oh, you start noticing little bits, don't you? Everywhere you go.
Especially where I've lived, like where I come from, it's a small town. There's not a lot to do, so I think I got quite accustomed.
So everyone's on drugs then.
Pretty much. I got quite accustomed to like seeing shit like at a younger age.
You start going, oh, that looks like dodge.
There was people doing pills like when I was like 12, 13 and shit like that.
And that was just normal.
Yeah.
So, because that's the other thing.
There's like an ice cream van that would go park up.
Please tell me that's not going around selling drugs.
And I'm not actually sure if it ever actually did or not.
Was just a front.
But
well,
it basically park up right beside the school. They used to park inside the road going down it, and then the school told them to fuck off basically.
Yeah.
Because there's a canteen and all that. But it parked up at the side of it, and there'd always be the same group of folk that were like stood by it outside school grounds smoking a joint or something at lunchtime and stuff.
So you're like, maybe they're just selling other things as well as
well,
Mr. Whippy.
I don't know.
Did you ever have a Mr. Whippy from the ice cream van?
I don't think I did. I always used to get like those 10p like refreshers or what.
I was just
because I'd have like the lunch used to be like £1.80, so I'd have like 20p left for the day. So I'd go there and get like two wee refreshers bars or something. But yeah, look, drugs was people started smoking, drinking, and doing stuff at quite a young age, and I think a lot of people had access to it anyway because there was a lot of it in the town.
Yeah. So it's almost.
It's not like it's gone anywhere. It's still like
no, it's still there. Like even when I got back and I was at the pub, like at Christmas
even
time.
More now at the pub. Because that's something I've noticed. No matter where I go now, pubs, restaurants, whatever,
I feel like
I'll find something or I'll see something. I'll go, and it's not because I'm like, oh, this place is disgusting, because it's not the restaurant owners, it's not the pub owners or anything like that. It's the people that come in. But it's become so normal.
Yeah,
you can go to the nicest restaurant in the world, and you're gonna have people doing it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? It's not like a scumbag thing or the high end person. It's a problem.
Yeah,
and I think the way it is now, especially, but it's almost normal. And you know what I mean? It's almost like acceptable, and because of the hospitality we're in, you know. And don't get me wrong, it's we obviously everyone in the bar world's drinking pretty much, but soon enough everyone then starts the other stuff and starts taking coke, stuff like that, to, like you said, to amplify the going out, because they're knackered, they want to go out for a good night and they've got nothing in them. So, and then all of a sudden that's now normal, you know. And it's like, oh, he's just done loads of coke. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Like that's like it's normal. But
people do drop it in conversation.
Oh yeah, no, because it is generally normal now. It's normal.
The thing is as well, like you'd be sat or stood at the bar and somebody will come absolutely frothing at the mouth, and you're just like, why are you even fucking bothering coming up to me? Because I'm just going to tell you to leave.
Yeah,
it's like
frothing
in the mouth, like,
just
I'm
like,
a pint of fucking
we have,
Amstel.
you have like a couple of months ago, I was at a place and it was like mid-afternoon. It was a food place, and I went with my mum, my gran, and it was a nice place. I went to the bathroom and I was like, it's there. It's literally like, what? It's 3:00 in the afternoon on like a Thursday. What on earth? But it's just become so normal now, and obviously because again it is normalised within the world. You know, these professional people are on it to keep them going. Or obviously bar staff are on it because they want to keep going because they work crazy hours. And again, something that's going to keep you going now then becomes that problem. On top of the drinking problem, drugs, and all of a sudden you've got a wealth of absolute crazy issues that people are trying to deal with, while also trying to deal with the public and everything else in between. And I think it's hard, and I think it's so rife within our industry. And there's not a lot of people necessarily talking about it too much. Yeah. I think we see it a lot more than we say about it.
I think we've all normalised it. Like we don't feel like we need to talk about it.
I mean, like I'll go at the end of a shift, go check toilets, and there'll be like 4 or 5 empty packets in the flare, and I'm just like, sound. Yeah. Like there's like one match day. I think it was you and me on in the night, and I swear, like one cubicle had about 10 packets in it by itself, just empty.
But unless you've got,
not including the other 3 that we've got as well, and they were just all over the flare.
Unless you've got like 4 doormen in the toilet.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and
you're not going to catch them.
No,
and even if you do on a football day, like what are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
You can go.
It's just going to spark you.
Like, yeah, right, or punch in the face.
Yeah,
there's the 2 options, aren't they?
Yeah.
But like, I think with the way it all is and the way it's all going, that's obviously something that maybe someone higher up than all of us needs to be thinking about, like the old government and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I mean, Scotland's just introduced, or they're planning to introduce, kind of like decriminalisation zones, because obviously Scotland's drug problem is like
pretty bad,
really fucking bad. Yeah. And I stayed in Dundee for a year, which is the drug death capital of Europe.
Yeah.
And it's not a good fucking place.
I don't know what
But they've started doing like basically like Portugal and like Switzerland has done, where there's like safe spaces
to go and do stuff
recreationally and stuff. And I think
and not have a doctor with them.
Yeah, exactly, and they'll look after them, that kind of thing.
They deem that you're too far. They start a
rehabilitation
centre.
Yeah, they try.
To try and get you away from that.
Because obviously it starts as casual, doesn't it? And that's the problem. And then a couple of years down the line, it's not so casual, and all of a sudden you've spunked all your money up the wall.
Yeah, you've lost your money, you've lost your house, you've lost your friends normally, innit?
Yeah.
So it goes in threes.
And I don't know, with all this kind of, for me, it's kind of very relevant now with, everyone is struggling with the world as it is. It's not a hard place to be at the moment, isn't it? So a lot of people are struggling. And then, especially within our industry where, there's so many pubs, bars, restaurants closing every other day.
Yeah.
People are struggling. So people are scared. And when you're scared, you look for comfort, and that comfort when you're in,
again, it's a dopamine.
Yeah, and that comfort at the moment for a lot of people, especially when you've been in the industry for so long, and thinking, shit, what am I going to do now if I lose this job, or I'm too old to get another one, whatever. Am I? Well, okay, I'll go drink, or and then, and with all this said, it's sort of, it's a horrible thing, and a lot of people are suffering with it. And I think it's something that, as an industry, people really need to look at a lot more. And I think people need to definitely talk about it a lot more, because without everyone going, people are there to help, people won't necessarily know, or they think they're alone. And it's the same as anyone out of the industry. You go down that hole of drinking too much, becoming a bit of an alcoholic or whatever, or addicted to drugs. You don't necessarily always think you've got someone with you or some people to help. And that's why, we mentioned them pretty much every episode, the Licensed Trade Charity are there to help you. So they can, all the numbers and the links and stuff are all on our bios and stuff like that now, so if anyone is interested. But they will talk to you, so you can give them a call and just have a chat. They're not going to force anything on you. They're going to just have a chat with you and see how you get on. But they can also help you with counselling. They can help you get doctor's appointments. They can help you get financial support, mental health support, and every other bit of support. And I think if everyone's a bit more aware of those guys existing, then hopefully we can help a few more people out and stuff. On our next episode, we've got a lovely person called Claire who's hopefully going to come on, and she's going to talk about all this because she's been through all this. She's came out the other side. She's doing some amazing stuff, so we'll be able to talk to her now with like a bit more of an in-depth thing about that. But so I just think that the industry as a whole is sort of there is roads that can lead to terrible things, and there's not a lot of support to make sure you're coming back side of things. And it's a tough one, I think. Do you think that, obviously both working, obviously you've worked places, do you think it's gotten worse over the last couple of years, or do you think it's as bad as it's always been? Or do you think that, because I think the new generation of bar staff are actually going to be all right, because it's too expensive to drink. But
fuck paying £6 for a pint.
For our work, people doing our kind of jobs. Is that what you mean?
Well, I think,
you mean like a personal kind of...
For like, obviously the time we've been in the industry, I think the actual... I don't know if I've noticed it more.
Well, like when we sit down at the end of the night now, we will say, "Oh, I'm going to have a beer, lads. You joining? You leaving?" A lot of people now will say, "Oh, I'm going to go." Like one of our newer lads, every time I say it, he's like, "Oh no, I've got to be up early tomorrow."
Yeah, fair play.
So
absolutely, and that's I think there's better priorities now. I think a lot of the younger generation have got their heads screwed on a little bit more.
They've also got a try harder.
I generally do. Like I think
I'm agreeing with you. Just
it's just funny to hear.
Yeah,
but I do think that. I think that a lot of the
majority of them have their heads screwed on. I think
they do, and I think they've got a bit more. You know what? Actually, I'm going to do this instead. Yeah. Feeling like crap the next day doesn't serve me any purpose. What's
they sit and drink for the next 10 years. They're never going to own a house, are they? Like, that's
well, the thing is, like, realistically, we're never going to get a house in the first place.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so you need to start saving for rent.
Nah, what's the point? Can always just sit at a pub.
No, well, at least it's warm.
Yeah.
But that was
well, actually, there's an older guy that comes in who came in through the winter, and he was speaking to you about it. I think Candy. He came in to watch the football, and he's by himself, but he said he came in because the pub was warmer than his
house
or his flat or something.
It's ridiculously expensive now to heat your house.
No, so it's ridiculous. No, it's mental. It's absolutely insane.
So you come in and have a pint of Cardinal and you just sit in the pub for hours.
I think it's, I think I spend at least £5 a day, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. £5 a day on like an hour and a half, 2 hours worth of heating. Or I can spend £5 on a pint and sit there for 2 hours, watch a football match and be just as warm. And that's what a lot of the older people...
£2,000 a year.
Yeah. And that's just for...
This is not setting me up for real world after I finish.
But like when our old pubs and stuff, when we had all the old boys and stuff, they'd sit there for hours, because obviously it was cheaper anyway. And a lot of them would say the same. But the problem is then, again, they're not at home watching, daytime television. No. They're at home staring at a wall drinking 15 pints of John Smith's. And then all of a sudden... that becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Especially for the older guys. I mean, we have mentioned we're going to do sort of a chat about COVID and stuff, but, over COVID, we lost a lot of our regulars. Not because they stopped coming in, because they didn't make it through COVID, because they had no one to tell them to stop drinking.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know when to stop. Because you had no one to say, you've had enough now, you need to get your taxi home. And that's the reality of it. Like, with becoming so dependent on alcohol. It's a bit of a tough one, I think. But yeah, I just think that a lot of the time there needs to be sort of a point where people can feel comfortable, say.
Actually, yeah.
Actually, or like get to somebody, or like if I ended up having an issue, I go to Matt, but like, bar me from the pub, basically.
Yeah. So just stop me.
Just stop serving me.
You said it in jest the other day. I was like, I'd just take a photo of you now and put it in the forum if you want, mate.
It's like it's not an issue, but I like having a beer after.
Having a beer after work isn't the end of the world.
No, it isn't.
It's when it turns into 3 or 4 every single day. Then all of a sudden,
the issue is with me is that, like, I hope my dad doesn't mind me saying this on here, but he, you know, like, my family has a history of alcoholism.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of them are or have been alcoholics. Yeah. And like, fair play to my dad, he stopped drinking like before I was born, or like just after I was born or whatever. So, and he's not touched a single drop since.
That's impressive.
So, like, I got told by mum, like, he used to drink quite a lot, and the issue is that if he did 1 or if he had 20, he'd still feel the same the next day, so you'd always just go mental with it.
Yeah, so you might,
once you had that one, that was...
He might as well have had...
He might as well have had like 20 instead of the 2 that he had, but like, he stopped, and he's been stone cold sober for the past, nearly 22 years now.
That's fantastic.
Which is mad. Like, so for me, I've just got to be careful in terms of, like,
how much
finding that line where it's acceptable or not.
Do you think either of you could just stop?
I have stopped for a month. I mean, it was February.
But I mean, genuinely just go, you know what, I'm done with it. Do you generally think you'll miss it? Do you think you'll miss out on social situations? Do you think, what would you lose if you gave it up?
I think for...
Two-pronged attack, that was
I think it's definitely like a bit of FOMO, isn't it? Like,
yeah. I get really bad FOMO because I've only got like 2 pals anyway. It's I think, especially because I'm still a student as well, a lot more of the social situations involve alcohol and stuff. And like, if I'm sat there being the one who's not drinking, I do feel left out. But at the same time, like, there has been times where I have been the person that's not been drinking, and I've just, you know, sat my arse down and laughed at everybody else because they're making absolute tits of themselves.
I mean, I have a lot.
And I've got all the video evidence of them just, you know, and I'm just sat there chilling, that kind of thing. But
in my circumstance now, I've got a lot less like pressure to be like, I've got to drink every day, you know, to go out and see people, because the people I want to see, well, one of them's 4, right? And my missus...
Always drunk.
Yeah, honestly.
No, my missus, she doesn't drink really, you know, which is quite funny. She's Irish, so... But yeah, she doesn't really drink at all. She has a couple with me every now and then she feels horrible the next day. She just doesn't. So that being a thing, we normally have a lot of nights in, or if we do go to the pub, I'll have 1 while we're having food and then we'll go. So I think just dropping that 1 wouldn't be too hard.
So it's kind of...
I think I'd still have an issue, like at some point.
I feel like
instead of going out and having one, being able to, because I'm saying no to myself, I feel like,
that then becomes the problem.
Yeah.
Because you were denying yourself something as opposed to having the option.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more of an issue as well if you have more than one different thing. So you sit down, so if I sit down and have a pint of Guinness or 2 pints of Guinness, that's sound. But if I have like a pint of Guinness, 2 pints of Guinness, then move on to rum or tequila or something, then...
You're drinking now to get drunk. You're not drinking to enjoy
after like 2 or 3, that's kind of the point where it tips over where, you know, you're actually just drinking rather than just having a reward after work kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I'll be able to stop.
Yeah, well, you have stopped basically.
Yeah, well, I drink on like for a genuine reason, but I don't.
You don't drink because you drive everywhere.
Yeah, but I'll drink. You know, if like you go to a gig or you go to someone's birthday or to a wedding or whatever, I'll have a drink.
Yeah,
and 9 out I won't drive. If I'm driving, I just won't bother.
I know. Yeah. And that's your thing as well, because you also, to have a drink, you have to get a taxi into town and a taxi home. And we know what you're like with taxis.
Yeah. Well, it costs me
you might not even get in them.
It's like, that's too bad. That's when I'm drunk, see? It's like 20 quid each way. So it's 40 quid for me to have a beer. Like it's the most expensive beer
you could have
ever.
Bought like 3 12 packs.
And
brought them back, 3 crates and brought them back to your house.
Bought something useful.
Yeah, exactly. Actually,
We've done that. Me not since she moved into this house, but Matt's old house, we'd have it like a games night, right? And we'd open there'd still be beers in there from the last time that we had a games night. Just doesn't drink at home.
And then
and he's got an absolute shelf full.
I've got over 100 bottles of unopened spirits in my house.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Because everyone goes, "Oh, you work at a bar.
Oh, we'll give you alcohol.
I bought you a present."
I mean, if you want to slide one of them my way, I wouldn't mind. I need to build up my...
No, they're perfect for people's Christmas presents.
Actually, that's a good point.
Give them all out, no problems at all. It's just nice.
So I've got like a wee mini bar in my kitchen at the moment.
Very nice.
I basically just make because I've got a coffee machine as well, purely for espresso martinis, and that's it. Nothing else.
In my room, in a minute, I've got a darts board and just about bed. So
I'm proud of you. How are we doing for time, Sam?
Still got a bit.
Nice.
Bit minute.
But yeah, sort of. I say it's just. I kind of feel that.
I feel like it'd be a good time to sum it up. To be.
Yeah, I think the problem is obviously with it all is that it can end up going so far the wrong way.
Yeah.
And that's with people we've met, people we know, things like that. You hear about people in different cities, wherever it might be, going missing or doing something silly or whatever, and it all kind of ties to that. And I think, as I said before, if people are feeling that way, they need to reach out to get some advice, some help. Licensed Trade Charity are there. There is obviously others. The one we know a bit more about and stuff like that are really good. But yeah, I think anyone who's struggling, it's tough. And I think working within the industry and having that problem at the same time, you're going to have to really think about what you need to do to make things right. Yeah. And that is, in my opinion, potentially leaving the industry completely. Because I think it's too much.
There, right,
yeah. Unless
if you've got a very addictive personality, the temptation I think can be overwhelming.
Yeah, and I think I don't know how it works for a lot of people, but I know a lot of people that are now better from addiction, stuff like that. Avoid going to bars, avoid going.
Yeah.
They go to restaurants, a bit different, but that sort of, they avoid those social situations. I mean, Claire, who's hopefully coming on to the next episode, she's actually back in the industry.
Yeah.
Sober. So it'd be interesting to see how she feels and stuff and go from there.
I feel it'd be strange to be like completely sober in our industry, like because especially like, we get a lot of craft beers and things in, and we all like to try them. Obviously, we're not having a pint to try them, but it's those flavour notes, that understanding of how it hits your like tongue and things, and trying to be able to recommend it. I feel I might just be justifying it so I can still have.
No. I think I got when I was at the other craft beer place I worked at, you were kind of encouraged to try it like on shift, like behind the bar and everything. They'd pour you it and be like, try that and tell me what to think about it. What do you taste, that kind of thing. So then you can actually talk to it, talk to the customer about what you've just drank, because like they were very heavy on their Cheech Your Own awards as well, that kind of thing that Scott's got. So I think I
suppose it just depends on where you're working.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you
and who you're working with as well.
Yeah, and I mean, if you could, reality, we're lucky, but if we wanted to know all about a certain, just ask. One of the guys who knows a lot about it, and right, okay, cool, I remember that. You don't have to have drank it.
What is Marjorie? Coors Light, mate.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? That side
just ruined loads of people's hair.
Yeah, just ruined loads of people's lives. Ruining the
the
mystical whatever of whatever Marjorie actually.
It is made in Burton upon Trent.
It's literally made next to Carling.
Yeah,
it's all a lie. We're not getting sponsored by them. But yeah, that's the thing. It's sort of
we've just pissed off one of the major groups.
You can find that workaround and whatever it might be.
Yeah,
I think you'll be fine, especially if you're in restaurants and stuff.
Yeah,
it's a lot easier. And I think for someone to do that, it's someone who still loves the industry enough to want to go back into it. And
I think that's the thing, though. That's the reason we've all stayed here. Like, we've had all of our like little moments in time where we don't want to do this.
Yeah,
but stepping away from it isn't really an option because
it's impossible.
Yeah, like
there's no other job.
I think the next episode, especially if we've got a guest on, it'd be better to be a bit more personal about it and kind of talk a bit more in depth about our own personal experience.
Oh yeah, we're going to find everything out about Claire.
Yeah,
Claire's a really cool character, and she's doing some amazing things. I don't want to say too much, but it's super.
Then don't say anything.
And she really believes in what she's doing. So it'd be really cool to have her on. But cool. All right then. Well, if you're both happy with everything, it's been Totes Emosh. Thanks for having us.
Nice.
And
we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Bye.